Welcome back to another Warrior Wednesdays. This week, I want to touch on something a little more sensitive to some people, So if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you can see that I have my smudge going, It's going pretty good because I want this medicine that I've lit to be able to reach you if you're struggling with this right now, or if you're going to be struggling with this in the future, or someone that's struggling with this. And prayers really do help, especially when you have good intentions with them, when you light some medicine. And the indigenous way, of Turtle Island that I know of, I'm speaking per se, is that when we smudge, we always pray for others also, even if you're non-indigenous. So I pray that this medicine reaches you. And today I want to talk about is suicide and depression. Because with what's going on in the world, there are more suicide rates. The suicide rate has gone up. Depression has gone up. And myself too, I've struggled many a times with depression. Even this, I guess it was basically this time last year, last December, a year ago, myself, I was struggling with depression. I honestly had suicidal thoughts come back up. And I hadn't had those in a very, very long time. I hadn't had those since before I quit drinking. Back when I was drinking, that's when I started to get those thoughts. That's one of the reasons why I quit drinking. So when these thoughts came back up, they kind of humbled me in a way. Before, I would just deal with it through alcohol, and I would drink my feelings away, which doesn't really help, because alcohol is actually a depressant. It's not an antidepressant like most people think. Because if you think about it, if you've ever resolved to alcohol to deal with things that have happened in your life, it doesn't get any better. The problem actually gets worse with the consumption of alcohol or the consumption of drugs. But I can only speak on the consumption of alcohol, because that's all I've actually ever witnessed when I was dealing with my depression during that time. And this time, I actually allowed myself to feel these feelings, but I didn't act on them. There's a difference, right? So, a few things that happened in my life at that point. Prior to that, the summertime, prior to that, I had ended a relationship, and I wasn't upset more about the relationship ending. I was more upset that I thought I had fully healed. I thought I had fully healed my trauma, but in that relationship, and trauma came back up. Some stuff came back up that I never knew that was within me. And instead of having that growth mindset at that time, I let, my emotions get to me, which is okay. Sometimes that happens, right? People think that I'm always positive. I'm always, smiling. I'm always happy, when it's not the reason. That's not the case. Sorry about that. The smudge is getting into my throat. It's pretty smudgy in here. But I'm not. I'm human. I'm just like you. I go through emotions. I feel things. I have bad moments. I don't have bad days, but I have bad moments throughout my day sometimes. Because we get so asphyxiated and we get so trapped on thinking that a bad moment means that we're supposed to have that we're going to have a bad day, when it's not. There's many of things that happen throughout your day, and one moment doesn't equal the whole day. So a year ago, I was depressed and I had suicidal thoughts. But I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of, studying. I've learned a lot. I've accumulated a lot of knowledge. And one thing I realized with suicide is, people don't want to feel the pain. That's what you're trying to run away from. You're trying to get away from that pain. That you think that pain is going to end. But that pain never ends. It may end for you, but it doesn't end. Because what happens is, if you take your own life, you leave people behind you. You leave loved ones. You leave co-workers. You leave friends. And that pain is transferred to them. And now they take on your pain. So you might think that you're ending the pain that you're going through, that you're growing through. But it's not. Your family, your co-workers, your loved ones, your friends, they feel that pain because they lost you. You are no longer here. The pain may not be there for you anymore, but it's there for them now. And they have to deal with it. They have to keep going on with their lives. They have trauma now. They have to heal, because they might even blame themselves for your suicide, because they might ultimately feel like it was their fault that you did, that they didn't reach out to you, that they didn't get a chance to help you work through it. So that pain is still there. So if you think that the pain's gonna end, it won't. It's just gonna multiply, and it's gonna spread to multiple people now. Yes, it's not easy to deal with pain sometimes, but the greatest things in life are not the easiest things to do. As they say, easy come, easy goes. If it comes really easy, it can just leave as easy as it came in to your life. That's why, on a totally different topic, but the lottery, that's why most people, when they win the lottery, they are actually worse off than before they won that. You can look up the stats on that. But it's pretty crazy that most people think that winning the lottery is the key to everything, but it's not. And suicide is not the answer. Just think about it. Whoever you believe in, for myself, I believe in the Creator. The Creator has given us everything in our life for a reason. We were given emotions for a reason. If we didn't have emotions, we wouldn't be able to experience life to its fullest potential. Life would just be mundane. If we had no emotions, life would be boring, Life would ultimately not be worth living. As I'm talking about suicide, right? But if we didn't have those emotions, I don't know. I couldn't imagine life. Well, I've been down that road with, emotionally numb. And that was one thing that when I started to feel these things, I allowed myself to feel these emotions because I had numbed myself for so long. And, I had the deep down root cause of why I was feeling suicidal. It's because I had a sense of loss. When you feel any depression, that's all it is. It's just a sense of loss. You felt like you've lost something. But if you look at it with a growth mindset, you may have gained 10 times more than you lost. Let's just do a little story time within my podcast. Story time. So, there's this family, and there's this mother and this father, and they have a daughter and a son, and they go out looking for new furniture. They've had this furniture in their house for many years now, and it's starting to break down, and they saved up some money to get new furniture. So they go out and they find this furniture that they really, really love, that they manifested, that was right for their home. It had all the functions they needed. It was just what they were looking for, exactly what they were looking for and what they needed to have a safe, comfy home. So they buy it. They hire the movers to bring it in. But they have to get rid of the old furniture. So they start to, they line up some movers to get rid of the old furniture. And as the movers are taking out the old furniture, the children come in. They say, Mom, Dad, why are you getting rid of the furniture, Why are you getting rid of this? We really, really like this furniture, we have so many memories with it. And the parents say, well, in order for us to have this new furniture, to create new memories, we have to get rid of this old furniture so we can make room for this new furniture. As in life, sometimes things have to leave our lives in order to make room for new things to come in. Bigger things, better things that are going to serve us for this next chapter of our life. And that's how it is with life. We may think that we've lost something, but we may have just made more room for new things to come into our life. And that's one of the reasons why I had suicidal thoughts. I felt like I lost something, you know. And if you take a deep down look of insight within yourself, if you're struggling with depression right now, if you ever have had those thoughts, just think about it. Think if you feel like you have a sense of loss with that. Whatever that was, whatever that's making you feel depressed. 9 out of 10 times, you have a feeling of loss. And that's why you're feeling this way. In a book is made up of chapters. When one chapter ends, the next one begins. But you have to end that chapter before to start a new one. Our life is exactly like a book, and we grow through chapters of our lives. When one chapter ended, what my last chapter last year with my relationship ending, what it did is that depression pushed me to seek counseling, to start talking with a professional on how to overcome my traumas, how to actually work on them. It pushed me to invest into myself more. If I would have never had grown through that situation, you know, I may have never known that I had these childhood abandonment issues. As I say at the very end of every podcast, everything happens for the right reasons. Even if we can't see it right now, somewhere down that road, you're going to have an epiphany, and you're going to realize that that happened at that exact moment in your life for that reason. And just understand that you're not alone. You're never alone. You think about it, there's billions of people on this earth. You think that you're the only one feeling these feelings, but you're not. There are lots of people out there feeling that exact same feeling as you. There are communities out there, I guarantee it, that have been through the same situation you have been through in life, no matter what it is. You think how long we've been here on earth, for thousands of years. Think about it. There has to have been someone who has been through what you're struggling with right now. Look for it. You will find it. You will find someone that has been through that. Reach out to them. Ask them how they dealt with it, how they grew through that experience, you know? It's okay to ask for help sometimes. We all struggle. We all fall down. That's what my podcast is here for, is because I've fallen down many a times throughout my life. And these are just things that I've, used to help pick myself back up. And I asked for help. I humbled myself. I was honest with some friends. And I said, hey, I'm having depression, suicidal thoughts. I need help. Do you know of some good counselors to see? And I found one. But I had to ask for that help in order to get better. I had to humble myself. I had to realize that if I end it now, my pain doesn't end with me. It just multiplies to everyone around me. So realize that, yes, the pain ends for you. And that's being selfish. That's what I ultimately would have done if I had taken my own life. Is I was going to be selfish and only think about my own needs instead of thinking about everyone around me, the people that love me, the people that care for me, you know, my coworkers, people that I have met throughout my life may be affected through this. And that's why I didn't end my life, because I understood these things. I still felt it. I still felt that depression. I still felt those suicide thoughts. But I didn't act on them because I knew these things. So if you're struggling with these things, keep reminding yourself that. That's what I had to do. I had to keep reminding myself that if I did it, I'm just being selfish. And sometimes being selfish isn't a good thing. There is the odd time that being selfish is okay, but in this situation, it's not. Because there's no going back from that choice. And I watched videos on YouTube on survivors who attempted to commit suicide. And in the midst of committing suicide, they regretted it. And this one story really stuck out to me. There was this young boy in California, and he was depressed. And I'll cut the story short. But he ultimately went to he took a bus to the Golden Gate Bridge, and he jumped off. And as he jumped off and he was falling to the water, he instantly regretted jumping off. And he was praying that he survived this. He was praying that, he should have never done that. He survived though. His story's pretty miraculous. Sorry about that, but he shares his story now about how suicide is not the answer. Things always get better, then they get worse, then they get better. But in order to feel happiness, to feel joy, we have to feel the opposite. We have to feel sorrow. We have to feel pain. We have to feel these things to understand the other situation. You can't have one without the other. It's like daytime and nighttime. There has to be a balance. If you live with the daytime only, with the sun always up, you start to go crazy. People go loopy. And the indigenous people of the north have, they understand. They live sometimes in the year where it's always daytime, and then sometimes where it's always dark. But that has taken them centuries to adapt to that, to become accustomed to that. So, I really hope these words help you if you're struggling through life right now. And I pray that my medicine that I lit at the very beginning of this podcast, that it reaches you and you don't take your life, because you are loved. You are loved by many. I love you. I may not know you, but I do love you because you're here supporting me. And I support you for supporting me. And I understand that life is so precious. I've talked about it countless times. But your life is the lottery. You won the lottery. 1 out of 400 trillion chances for you to be here today. That's a miracle in itself. You are a miracle. So please, seek help. Reach out. Admit it. Admit that you're depressed. Admit that you have suicidal feelings. And it's okay. Because once you admit those things, it's like weight is lifted off your shoulders. And that's how I felt. When I was honest with my feelings to my friends that I reached out to, I felt weight lift off my shoulders in that moment. I humbled myself. I took myself to get help so I wouldn't act on those feelings. There is help out there. You are loved. You are love. Remember that. You are love. You are worthy of life. You are worthy, and I see you. So thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you know someone who's struggling with this, share it with them. It might just give them that little bit of boost they need to seek the professional help out there. Sukani, on Winnegit, Dagas. And remember, everything always happens for the right reasons. See you next week, my fellow warriors.